Hello. I've just come out to start looking at this French Flatty, the one for the Sedan for Pendine, and I've taken out all the lifters and I've taken out all the valves and I've kept them in order because I do have the cam for this engine, so if ever these valves and lifters were ever put back into an engine, I could at least match them up with the cam. Now you might say, yeah, but they're all jumbled up there, Mart. They're all jumbled up. Yeah, they are all jumbled up. But they're in order because they are threaded. They're threaded on a bootlace. So in other words, that one there is the number 16. The number 1 is at the other end, so the lifter and then the valve, and they're all like that. So that is a handy way of keeping them in order without having to have like 16 little bags. Plus, the lesson that I've learned is when you take something apart, don't wash them. Leave them oily, and then they've got a much better chance of surviving storage. I don't know if I'll ever use these. I might do. You just never know. Okay, I just thought I'd pass that on as a little tip. I got all 16 bags laid out there, ready to take them, but I thought, oh, I know an easier way than this. I've done it with just the lifters before, but I've done it with the valves and the lifters now. Okay, righto, back in a bit. Hello. Right, there's the crank in the block, the French block. This is the Deeside Flatty. Now here I have my feeler gauges. Oh, there's one hiding behind there. That would have upset the reading, wouldn't it? Okay, let's get rid of that. That's a 8 and that's a 10. 8. 10. The problem with some of these French motors is that they can have quite a bit of crankshaft end float. That 8 thou goes in there, look. And this one also goes, but is much more reluctant. So there's between 9 and 10 thou of play in that bearing there. I think that's a byproduct of when they regrind the cranks. Now I had one that was worse than that, and I actually managed to pack a shim behind the flange of the bearing. I don't know if I'm going to do that in this case. Probably not. It did occur to me to try and build up the bearing material on the face of the bearing, but I've never done that before and I don't know how to do it, and it would just be a gamble. But these bearings are in good condition. I'm thinking I'm just going to run it as it is, in the interests of, let's just see what I can put together with what's around me without going for a mega bucks motor. I've got it like that so that the crankshaft is kind of down, you know, kind of tending to go down due to gravity. Okay, back in a bit. I'm always interested in showing some of the differences between the French flatheads and the American ones, and what I've noticed is that all of the main caps have a little lug on them, and it enables you to get a little pry bar under there to get the cap off, which is helpful because I always have a problem getting the caps off on the American engines. But I just wanted to show you that. They also use studs, nuts and these tab washers in all 3 locations. I've took those ones off. And if you look at this, the shape of this main cap is different as well. It's flat across the middle like that. So on this one, the front one is shaped like that. The middle one has the two ribs there, and the back one looks like, you know, what we're used to looking at, but they do have these lugs. This one here is the one that fouls on the oil pan when you adapt the 59A type oil pan. So I'll probably sacrifice this one and grind it off when I take the cap off. Okay, just thought I'd show you those little subtle differences. It's quite handy because you can just get a lever under there. And what would be the pleasure out of working on these things if you couldn't abuse woodwork tools on the way as well? Sorry to all you woodworkers out there. Okay, right, that's enough nonsense. Back in a bit. I'm trying to apply some of my lessons learnt, and one of the lessons I've learnt is that it's easier to lift the crankshaft when it's vertical, put it in and out. And what I've done, I've put it there and I've put the workmate right behind it, so I'll just take it out, turn around and put it down on the workmate. It's oily, so I've put a rag on it so I don't get dirty. Well, within reason, you know. I dropped a bearing there somewhere. Geoff just found he's bought a new motorbike and he hasn't started it or anything. I said, when you come to start it, give us a shout and I'll come round and we'll do a first start on the new bike. So we'll go around and have a look at that hopefully tomorrow. I don't know the best way of getting his bearings out. I always just kind of just come in here very gently with a screwdriver and kind of tease it from this side. Like that. Okay, right, okay, I don't know what to make of that. You can sort of see copper here and just a tiny bit of copper there. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'll invest in some new bearings. Then again, maybe not. I don't know. That was one of the lessons learnt. When lifting the crank, move the tray so you can put your foot through the stand there to balance better. Okay, I won't bother recording anymore now because there's nothing really happening. But I'll bring you back, as always, when there's more to show. Cheers then. I've given the block a rudimentary sort of stage 1 wipe down the oily areas to get, actually everything was pretty clean, but it had like older oil residue, but not any massive build up. You know, I've just given it a wipe over with some elbow grease degreaser and it's kind of come out better. I don't need to go mad, but I want to have it so it's not got clingy, gooey, horrible stuff on it, because I'm going to start machining it. I thought I would just use the camera to give me a good view, because I want to look for cracks. Now I've seen a crack and I'll show you what I'm looking at. Can you see there's a little crack? Can you see there? And potentially one above. Looks like it to me, and now I'm looking with the camera, it looks even more like it. And I think there's one there as well. I'm not sure if having the light on the camera helps or not. Don't know. But I think that might be a crack there. I haven't got any of that crack penetrant stuff. Can't see anything there. I thought I saw something up here. Maybe it was on a different block. There's a scratch there. Yeah, that definitely looks like a crack. I can see it better with my bare eyes. Maybe having the light on. Maybe I'll come back in a minute without the light. Was that the one I was thinking of? That's either a scratch. That's either a scratch or it might be a crack. I don't know. Now here, that's definitely a crack, because I had a French block before, and I think even at the French rebuild facility they acknowledged there was a crack there and they centre popped it to make it easy to see. And you know, I'd be guessing, I suppose, but make it easier to see and acknowledge that it's been seen. Probably an inspector has passed it off as being okay, so it was just marked like that. I had a block before that had more of those, and I think there might be one there as well. It's might be imagining that, not sure. But I certainly can't see any others that are centre marked. There might be something there, I'm not sure. Don't know. Let me just try that again without the light. So there's the one with the centre marks. And it looks like there might be a hint of one there. And here is possibly another one. That might just be that looks like a crack though, doesn't it? Possibly that side as well, blimey. Oh, and there's one there, look, in the same place. See that? But that one's been marked by the factory. When I'm saying factory, I mean the rebuild facility. So there's one there, and there's one in a similar place over there. That's really annoying, because that block that I damaged didn't have any cracks at all. So what I want to do is do a sonic check. I bought a sonic tester. I've kind of played with it a couple of times, but you know, I wouldn't say I'm an expert by any means. But what I'll do, I'll just record the figures to the camera, then I'll go and put them on a spreadsheet. I'll start filming when I'm ready. I don't believe that. I went all the way down this side and the camera wasn't running. I think there's a big core shift on this one in that direction, because they're all thin at the front. Number one at the front, 4.8. A little bit lower, look, 3.8. 4.0. 3.5. 3.8 flashing to 3.7. So that's the smallest number I've read. At the back, I'll go down pretty well as far as I can. 6.9 on the inside, 6.6 on the outside, 6.4 cylinder number 2. Okay, so I've captured all those on a film, on a video. I can go and punch them into a spreadsheet, but I have a feeling that this block is no good. It's got cracks all over it. If I'm talking about going 3/8 over, that's 3/16 a side, isn't it? 3/16. No, it's not 3/16 a side. It's 3 3/8. It's 3/16 over. 3/16 is about 5 mil. So I'm going to be boring 2.5 mil into a wall that is less than 4 mil. So it would only leave 1.5 mil, which is 60 thou. It ain't enough, is it? It ain't enough. But nonetheless, I will put it into my spreadsheet. I'm not even going to bother measuring the bottoms at the moment because I might just rule this one out. I'll have to think of something else. And I'm not sure what that something else is going to be at the moment. There is some water damage in this bore. This engine would run with its existing pistons. I use the Vaseline. I'll just smear it around to protect the bores a bit. This is actually at 15 thou over, so I need to factor that into it as well when I'm doing my calculations. Righto, I hope you found that interesting. Doing that might have just averted a disaster. I'm a little bit disappointed, to be honest, but that's why I bought this machine, to forewarn me of things like that. It looks like my 3 3/8 engine is just a pipe dream at the moment. Hello, I'm sitting at my computer. These are the results from the sonic test on the Deeside Flatty. And you can see here that you've got this low number here, 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 and these are at the front of the first few cylinders. The others aren't so bad. So the standard bore is 3.1875. The existing bore is 15 thou. So the actual bore is that. So these numbers here are in millimeters, so these numbers here are the same numbers in thou, which is possibly easier to work with because, you know, we quote all the bores as inch sizes. So here are the wall thicknesses in thou, and the thinnest ones are here. So imagine if I wanted to bore it to 3 5/16. It's 0.125 over. It's already at 15 thou. So you need to go an extra 110 thou on the diameter, but that's 55 thou on each side of the bore, on the radius. So then you look at the numbers again. So this is what you've got left. You know, it's 252 minus 55 is 197, and so on. So you look for the same numbers here. These are the suspect ones. So you got 95 thou there, and 110, 118, 138. Now you might argue, well, actually, it's not a thrust face. The thrust faces actually have plenty of meat on them. That might be okay. So on the next column, here, imagine if it went to 3 3/8. So these are our problem areas here. You'd have 63 thou, 79 thou, 87 and 107. So now, call me old-fashioned, but I'd say that's nowhere near enough wall thickness, when you have to bear in mind that, you know, you could get a little rust pit as well here and there. So on that basis, I'm going to say that the Deeside Flatty is not the engine that I want to try and build for the Roadster with a 3 3/8 bore. Now there is the opportunity to cheat the bore. So you can imagine if I wanted to build it to 3 5/16, and I took this bore here and moved it by 10 thou, 0.010, that would bump that up to 105. There, look. What it does, it adds it onto there and takes it off there. So if you went 15 thou, let's say you went 20 thou, which I think is probably, you wouldn't tend to do that, 0.020, you'd actually have a reasonable number. If you went 0.010 on there, you'd have some reasonable numbers, but 0.02 is probably a bit much. But if you went 15 thou, let's say 0.015. So if you just cheated those a little bit, you could bump the numbers, but you could also say, well, 100 thou is probably enough, because it's not the thrust side, it's the front of the bore, which is like the, you know, the side, if you like, of the thing. If you apply the same logic to the 3 3/8, to get this up to 100 thou, you would have to apply 37 thou, wouldn't you? 0.037. I've never done it, and I don't know if anybody ever has, but I wouldn't want to move the bore nearly 40 thou. You know what I mean? Let's put 0.040. You'd have to move that bore 40 thou to come up with a number that was livable. And here, you know, you would have to go like over 20 thou, let's say. Well, it'd be 21 thou, wouldn't it, to get it. You'd have to move all of only that one is just about okay. When you consider that the block has quite a few cracks, and you would have to move everything around so much, I just don't think you could do it. I wouldn't like to have to move a bore 40 thou. And bear in mind, you know, you still got to get it within the gasket, so it's just not going to happen, is it? 10 thou max, isn't it? 10 or 15 thou. So if this one went 10 thou, 0.010, it's above 100 thou. even if you went naught there, it's okay. Naught, naught, naught. So that motor, even with that excessive core shift, could go to 3 5/16 with just a 1/10 thou nudge on one of the bores. So I would consider that that is doable, but this isn't doable. So on the strength of that, I'm going to say that the Deeside Flatty, the one that I've been pulling apart and inspecting, is not the engine that I want to put into my sedan to run at Pendine. There's the number that kind of proves it. Thanks very much for your interest. I need to resort to a different plan, and I'm not sure what that plan is yet, but believe me, you will be the first to find out. Okay, thanks very much for joining me in the garage then. Take care, and I'll catch you on the next one. Bye. Hello, welcome to Geoff's garage. Yes, I said Geoff's garage, not Mart's garage. I've come round to Geoff's. Here's Geoff. Hi, Geoff.
All right, Mart.
And I've come to... I was round here the other day and I said, Geoff, your bikes look really nice. I'll come round and do a little bit of filming, and I'll just put a little slot on my, you know, usual video showing the bikes. So, see that one over there, that red one? Geoff's just bought that yesterday, and he hasn't even started it yet. It does run and drive, you know, is rideable. Tell us a bit about it, Geoff.
Okay, so it's a 1946 Model 70, which is a 350 single. It was produced for 1 year after the war. It's basically a pre-war model with web girder forks, rigid rear end, and the pre-war engine. Not long afterwards, the engine went from a slightly inclined cylinder, which that is, to the vertical cylinder engine similar to that one there. And that one's a Model 65, which is a 250 single. Oh yeah, they're all Panthers. Got this thing about Panthers, you seem to buy one and you just can't help yourself then. So yeah, I bought this one because I've always wanted a girder fork bike rather than a rigid telly bike. So as Martin said, when I went to look at it, Rollo, the chap I bought it off, he started it up and that, but I haven't started it since it arrived here yesterday. So it'll be the first start up with my name on the logbook today.
Tell us about this one on the stand, Geoff.
I bought that one about 5 years ago now. Unseen, unfortunately. It just needs a couple of weekends work and it'll be on the road.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the weekends were 5 years apart. That was the problem, because there was so much wrong with it, including a casting inside the engine, which was crucial to the oil feed, having snapped off and being glued on with Bostik.
Bloody hell.
I'm glad they used Bostik, because I saw it wobbling around. If they'd have used a better glue, I wouldn't have noticed till it was very like
I like that one. I like the style and proportions.
Yeah, it had the wrong rear mudguard on, so I'm making a correct style and shape rear mudguard for it. The engine's been rebuilt, new main bearings, the bore and everything was okay, so hopefully I'll have that one done this year. Cool. This is the one I normally ride. This is the 1953 600 single, the Model 100, and I've had this for 22 years now.
Yeah, it's
and
nice.
It's really, really nice. It's got the Doughty air forks on. Slightly heavier weight forks than the lightweight. Those are Doughty air forks as well. So there's no spring in them. It's compressed air with oil acting as a damper. So this is what they call the sloper engine, 600 single. And they say the 250 singles are vertical, and then the 350 is just the inclined engine rather than.
So this is a 600 or
600 cc.
That's a 600. What's that, Geoff? 350?
That's the 350, but again the engine forms part of the frame when you have a look at it.
But that, Geoff, is a sloper, but it ain't sloping at that same angle as that one.
No, this is the sloper.
Yeah, that's a sloper.
Those are just inclined.
Oh, those are inclined, okay. And that one's upright or vertical.
Upright. And the other one, the big one that I'm just putting together to sell, I'm just tying it up to sell, is the 650.
So he's putting together to sell, hint, hint.
650 single.
This is a 650 single, so is this
as well.
Is this slightly newer than the blue one?
Yeah, that's 1960, that one is.
1960. What was this one? 53?
53, that one, yeah.
Oh, so 7 years different.
You could still buy a 600 single.
Okay, yeah.
In that frame and with all the...
Yeah.
In fact, I've got one of those.
This is Geoff's doing a really nice job of this. He's going to sell it, but he's such a perfectionist, he can't let it go unless it's absolutely bang on.
So, another thing I found out about girder forks, they've got a very good lock on them.
Oh, ain't they? Bloody hell.
I don't know what that was. What was that?
These things on the corner.
Oh, right, oh, them castings. I don't know what those are, either. They come with it. The spares for something.
Well, they look like they're supposed to be drilled that way and drilled that way, don't they?
They do, yeah.
A little bit of a machining project.
One of the days.
You need somebody who's a machinist on this job.
Yeah, let's pick it out the front.
Do you want to get your jacket on or anything?
I'll be like to get up.
This is sort of oily rag sort of condition, isn't it, Geoff?
Yes, but I'm not going to start doing anything to this one until I either have to, until I get forward.
Yeah.
So,
hang on just a sec, Geoff. Sorry, mate. It's a bit windy out here, so we might not do. Yeah, we might not do very well for the sound. But can you see it's got a panther on the tank? It's a bit cold today, and it's the aftermaths of storm. Oh, can't remember. Eleanor, is it? Was it? Oh, can't remember. Yeah, he's wanted one with the girder forks for ages, so when this one came up, he
bought it straight.
Grabbed it.
Yeah, I like the panther's head on the tank.
Yeah, it's got that nice, a certain nice level of tackiness, hasn't it?
Yes, yeah. I wish all the wiring had been black though. That would have been, you wouldn't have looked anywhere near so bad. So,
well, a little touch up with a brush.
So it's fuel on. Yep, there's fuel coming through.
Bear in mind you've actually never done this. Yeah, give it a tickle.
Still got fuel coming through. Now it is coil ignition, this one, not a magneto. So
is it?
I've got
I can smell fuel, yeah. Fuel dripping out, yeah.
It's pouring out. Let's turn the fuel off for a minute then.
Okay.
We've got choke.
Say that again.
We've got choke, that's the choke.
Yeah.
That's the air lever. Is that the air lever? One's advanced retard one.
Oh, here we go. Here we go.
We've got ignition. And we've got it's on compression, so
Ooh. Oh, brake light works. Hoodlums. That sounds alright, doesn't it? Sounds alright, doesn't it? Yeah. burr?
It's something you can switch off instead of having to...
Oh, it's having to stall it. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, well, hey, I tell you what, it goes really nicely as
Does
well
it?
for a 350.
Oh,
it's
good.
nice and light.
Yeah.
You know, it's nice low
Yeah,
centre of gravity.
Yeah.
Odd fork action, but I'll get used to that.
Yeah.
Like
It's just different, isn't it, than what you're used to?
Yeah. Speedo don't
And then
work.
you can wind these up and down, can't you? You know,
That's the damper,
for the
yeah.
damper.
Yeah. Speedo don't work, but the lack of a cable from the drive to
Oh,
the
yeah.
Speedo might have something to do
it's
with
got
that.
wireless connection for the Speedo, obviously. Is that a case of just buying a cable, Geoff?
No, I don't think. Rollo said the Speedo don't work. He had a push bike Speedo fitted. But that's been cut off because it looked horrible.
So it's just a case of tidying the wiring a bit, isn't it?
Yeah, put in a. That's not a 1946 switch, as you could see.
What did you tell me it was? A Yamaha?
Yamaha, that's off, yeah.
And
the horn's a bit too new as well.
Yeah.
Right, I'm going to roll it into the garage, so...
That's ice those, Geoff. Yeah.
Well, hey, that'll go to Brighton with me.
Mine the Zephyr. There's the Zephyr. There's an Oldsmobile under this cover here. One of them, you know, with a fastback. What year's the Olds, Geoff?
48.
48 Olds. I won't try taking the cover off because it's all covered. Oh, the Zephyr's looking a bit sad, Geoff. He needs a bit of a clean.
It's cellulose and cut and polish that one.
Yeah, yeah, just sand it out.
Cut and polish.
Tell you what, I'm bloody freezing.
Yeah, it's a bit colder than
Yeah.
it seems, isn't it?
Tell you what's amazing when you open that door, how much noisier it is as well.
Das Heinkel.
Yeah. Yeah.
I need a bigger garage.
You do.
I need fewer toys.
Geoff had a bit of a rush of blood the one day and he bought this Heinkel Tourist. And it's sort of built like a motorbike under the skin, but, well, it ain't really, is it? But it's a scooter.
But they were a lot more expensive than the Vestas and Lambrettas. They really are built to a good quality.
Yeah.
And unfortunately...
Am I right in thinking this is like a little rack that comes down here?
Yes, it's the bread rack.
Oh, yeah.
5 kilos maximum.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's cool, isn't it?
And it's for your loaf when you collect your bread.
Yeah.
Much like Panthers, once you get one, they seem to multiply. I've got 3 of them now.
Have you got 3?
Yeah.
I knew you'd got 2.
I've got 2 like this and one slightly earlier one.
Oh, yeah. You nutter. Cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Anyway, so you've seen the new machine and we've had a quick look at the... What model was this one, Geoff?
That's a 120, a Model 120.
That's a Model
which is
120.
the 650 single.
That's a Model 120, the 650. What model was this one?
That's a Model 70.
350. Model 70. And what model was that one?
That's a Model 65, 250 single. And they did a Model 75 with the vertical engine as a 350
As a
single.
350, yeah.
And you can change the piston and barrels and that to turn it into a 350 because the rest is identical.
Yeah.
So I have actually got the parts to turn this into a 350 if it's a bit too sluggish.
Just look at that little brace there on that...
The head steady.
The head steady, yeah. It looks like... I mean, the throttle linkage on my model, you know, my 32 Ford's about that size.
There's the head steady.
And what was that one there? What model's that one?
And that's the Model 100, 600 single.
Yeah. You need a bigger garage, yeah.
Yeah. Well,
and what year's the Heinkel?
that one's a 66.
66. It's 12 volt, but it uses 2 6-volt batteries. Remember Geoff telling me that?
No kickstart, it's all electric start.
Oh, swanky. Okay, right, well...
I'm really pleased with how this run. That was great, that was. I enjoyed that little whiz up the road. Yeah.
Like a naughty schoolboy. No helmet.
No helmet, no gloves, no shoes.
Okay, well, thanks very much, Geoff.
No, that's all right, Martin. I've enjoyed that. I'm glad it started up for us because, as I say, it was. It came off the trailer, got pushed in here yesterday, and I've been working on the 120 to get all that done. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was the name of the Storm? Eunice? No, was it?
Yeah, Eunice.
Yeah, Storm Eunice. It was Storm Eunice when Geoff brought this back, and he had
Hour and 40 minutes to get there to collect it, 5 hours coming back.
Yeah, because of the lorries getting overturned on the motorway.
It was the M40, it was just the M40. It was dreadful yesterday, the M40.
Okay, Geoff, thank you very much indeed. Thanks very much. I hope you, as the viewers, find this interesting.
Different.
Yeah, different anyway. A little bit, something a bit different. Thanks a lot, Geoff.
Okay,
Cheers.
Mart. See you later. Snooker tonight.
Yeah, snooker tonight, yeah. Cheers then, bye.